My name is Julia Carter, and after 30 years of working double shifts as a nurse, I thought life had already shown me every kind of heartbreak possible. Then I won $42 million. And suddenly, people who hadn't cared whether I lived or died started remembering my phone number. But no one shocked me more than Michael, the man who dumped me 25 years earlier because, according to him, love doesn't pay bills. 2 weeks after my lottery win became public, he showed up at my front door holding red roses and smiling like he'd never broken my heart. Before I tell you what happened when the man who once chose wealth over me came back begging for a second chance, make sure to subscribe. Because this story taught me something important. Some people don't return because they miss you. They return because they miss access to what you have. When I met Michael, I was 27 years old. I was a young nurse working exhausting overnight shifts at St. Mary's Hospital in Cleveland. Michael was handsome, ambitious, charming in that dangerous way some men are, the kind of man who could make ordinary conversations feel exciting. For 3 years, I believed we would eventually marry. We talked about children, future homes, building a life together. Then one evening, everything changed. Michael sat me down at a restaurant and calmly explained that he needed more from life. More money, more status, more opportunity. A month later, he was dating the daughter of a wealthy real estate developer. 6 months later, they were engaged. I won't lie. That breakup destroyed me. Not just because I loved him, because he made me feel like being hardworking and loyal wasn't enough. For years afterward, I buried myself in work. I never married, never had children. I became the dependable nurse everyone trusted, the woman who stayed late, covered shifts, helped patients nobody else wanted. And slowly, life became routine. Then came the lottery ticket. I bought it absent-mindedly after a 14-hour shift. Honestly, I forgot about it for 2 days. Until my coworker nearly fainted in the break room checking the numbers. $42 million. I thought it was a mistake. Even after lawyers confirmed everything, I still felt numb. The first thing I did wasn't buy a mansion. It wasn't a luxury car. It wasn't jewelry. I paid off the mortgages of my sister and 2 closest friends. Then I quietly set aside money for children's hospitals. I intended to keep my life mostly private, but large lottery wins never stay secret for long. Within days, strangers started contacting me. Distant relative, old classmates, former coworkers, people I hadn't heard from in decades. Everyone suddenly remembered me. Then Michael appeared. I opened my front door and nearly dropped my coffee. He looked older, thinner, but the smile was exactly the same. "Julia," he said softly, "you look incredible." I almost laughed. 25 years earlier, he told me I lacked ambition. Now suddenly I looked incredible. He handed me roses. "I've thought about you for years." No, he'd thought about my money. But I invited him inside anyway. Partly curiosity, partly closure. Michael talked endlessly about regret. How his marriage failed. How success didn't bring happiness. How he never stopped thinking about me. It would have sounded romantic if it weren't so obviously timed. Over the next few weeks, he kept showing up. Dinner invitations, phone calls, memories, apologies. Then subtle financial conversations started appearing. Investment opportunities, luxury properties, business partnerships. One evening over dinner, he casually said, "With your money and my experience, we could build something extraordinary." There it was, the real reason. Still, I wanted certainty. So I hired a private investigator. What I learned stunned me. Michael wasn't just divorced. He was financially ruined. Failed investments, tax debt, multiple lawsuits. And worst of all, he had recently told friends he planned to reconnect with me after hearing about the lottery. Reconnect. Like I was some forgotten bank account. The final straw came during a charity gala. Michael unexpectedly proposed to me in front of nearly 200 people. Champagne glasses clinked. People applauded. Cameras appeared. And suddenly, every eye in the room focused on me. Michael dropped to one knee dramatically. "Julia Carter," he announced loudly, "will you give us another chance?" For one brief moment, I saw my younger self. The girl who once would have said yes instantly. Then I remembered the investigator's report sitting in my purse. I smiled, took the microphone from his hand, and said, "You didn't come back because you loved me. You came back because I became valuable enough." The room went completely silent. Michael's face drained of color. I continued calmly. "You once told me love doesn't pay bills." I handed the ring box back. I hope you finally understand that money doesn't create character either. Then I walked away. People later called it dramatic. Maybe it was. But for the first time in 25 years, I felt completely free. Today, most of my lottery winnings sit quietly invested. I still live comfortably. But I also created a medical assistance foundation helping elderly patients afford long-term care. Because after decades in hospitals, I learned something important. When people are dying, they never ask for bigger houses. They ask for more time, more love, more honesty. Michael taught me one final lesson too. The people who only return after your success were never truly rooting for you during your struggle. And honestly, that's all the closure I needed. Have you ever had someone suddenly reappear after you became successful? Tell me in the comments below. And if this story meant something to you, don't forget to like and subscribe. Because sometimes the greatest revenge isn't becoming rich. It's becoming wise enough to know who deserves access to your life.